This one is entitled, I Have Looked for You. I have looked for you where I looked for water, in parched and dry places. I have looked for you like some water diviner holding on to a vibrating wooden rod, expecting some kind of sign, hoping for a miracle. I have looked for you in churches, in the faces of the hungry. I have looked for you in the faces of the poor, overcome by the burden of existing day to day, wondering how many more days. They are all looking for answers in the silence. I have looked for you in churches, in the faces of the well-fed. I have looked for you in the faces of the well-dressed, displaying their appearances and position as if they could take fancy clothes and titles with them. They are all looking for answers in the silence. I have looked for you where I looked for water. I have looked for you in words. I have looked for you in singing. I have looked for you in hymns. I have looked for you in the Bible. I have listened for you on the radio. I have looked for you on television. I have looked for you in buildings. I have listened for you in meditation. I have looked for you in forgiveness of sins. I have looked for you in moss and sand. I have looked for you in stone. I have looked for you around campfires. I have looked for you near lakes and rivers. I have looked for you near oceans. I have looked for you on mountaintops. I have looked for you in birds. I have looked for you in cities. I have looked for you in sunlight. I have looked for you in twilight. I have looked for you in starlight. I have looked for you in candlelight. I have looked for you in fireflies. I have looked for you in a mother's eyes. I have looked for you in babies. I have looked and listened for you everywhere and nowhere. Instead, it was on a dark street, in the bitter cold, in the hungry, hurting face of a stranger, where you found me. Thank you very much.